Mozambique is one of the least visited countries, not only in Africa but also across the globe. However, it offers unique opportunities for those seeking adventure, natural beauty, or a new place to call home. Many Europeans, especially Portuguese nationals, have relocated here due to the country's warm climate, stunning landscapes, and relatively low cost of living. Stay with me as we explore life in Mozambique and uncover many fascinating facts about this beautiful nation. Mozambique's natural attractions and conservation areas. One of the standout features of Mozambique is its environmental conservation efforts. Over 12% of the country is dedicated to protected areas, including 6 national parks and 6 national reserves. These areas provide incredible safari experiences and showcase Mozambique's commitment to preserving its biodiversity. The Niassa National Reserve is the largest conservation area in the country. It is home to an impressive variety of wildlife, including lions, leopards, elephants, buffaloes, zebras, African wild dogs, and many other species, making it a must-visit for nature enthusiasts. Efforts to save the giraffe population. Mozambique's giraffe population suffered dramatic declines due to years of civil war, habitat destruction, and the exploitation of natural resources. However, in recent years, efforts to reintroduce giraffes have made significant progress. Today, there are an estimated 250 South African giraffes thriving in the country. The return of rhinos to Mozambique. Rhinos were wiped out in Mozambique over 40 years ago as a result of poaching and the devastation caused by civil war. In a major conservation milestone, 20 white rhinos and 7 black rhinos were reintroduced from South Africa to Mozambique's national parks in 2022. This initiative symbolizes the country's renewed commitment to wildlife preservation. Addressing poaching, challenges and solutions. Rhino horns are in high demand in countries like China and Vietnam, where they are used in traditional medicine. Their value can range from $3,600 to as high as $17,000. To combat poaching, some conservationists dehorn rhinos to reduce their appeal to poachers. However, rhino horns grow back over time, and poachers often target rhinos regardless of whether their horns have regrown. For animal lovers and advocates, there are numerous organizations offering volunteer opportunities to support rhino conservation efforts and protect other endangered species. Education and healthcare in Mozambique. If you're considering moving to Mozambique and have children, private schools are the better option due to overcrowding and limited resources in public schools. Similarly, the healthcare system struggles to meet the needs of the population, particularly in rural areas. In urban areas, like the capital city Maputo, healthcare services are slightly better. However, private health insurance is essential, as serious medical conditions often require treatment in South Africa. It's also crucial to take preventive malaria medication and always protect yourself against mosquito bites, as malaria is a widespread disease here. Infrastructure and transportation. Mozambique has about 30,000 kilometers, 18,600 miles, of roads, but only 5,600 kilometers, 3,480 miles, are paved, mostly in and around major cities like Maputo. Outside these urban areas, a four-wheel drive vehicle is necessary for safe travel. The country also has a railway network spanning 3,100 kilometers, 1,926 miles, which serves both locals and expatriates. Poverty and natural disasters. Mozambique faces significant economic and environmental challenges. It is one of Africa's poorest nations and frequently suffers from devastating droughts and cyclones that cause severe flooding in coastal regions. While the population is sparse overall, most residents live along the coastal areas or in the fertile Zambezi River Valley in northern Mozambique. Mozambique's diverse wildlife. Mozambique boasts a rich array of wildlife. Visitors may encounter animals such as water buffaloes, elephants, wild boars, leopards, baboons, giraffes, zebras, antelopes, lions, rhinos, hippos, crocodiles, and many more species thriving in its ecosystems. A deadly threat, malaria. Surprisingly, the deadliest animal in Mozambique is not a predator like a lion or a crocodile but a much smaller creature, the mosquito. The Plasmodium falciparum mosquito transmits malaria, a life-threatening disease that remains a serious public health issue in the country. Preventive measures and treatments are essential for both locals and visitors. Wildlife encounters, dangerous animals and beautiful birds. In addition to malaria, other animal-related deaths occur in Mozambique, particularly from crocodile attacks. These reptiles claim dozens of lives each year, with the majority of victims being women and children. Many attacks happen near rivers, where locals bathe, fetch water, or wash clothes. Mozambique is also home to various snakes, including pythons, venomous vipers, and cobras, which are widespread across the country. Alongside these potentially dangerous creatures, the wetlands in the northwest offer refuge to diverse waterbirds, including flamingos, cranes, storks, herons, pelicans, and ibises, adding beauty to the region's natural landscape. An agriculture-based economy. Agriculture and fishing form the backbone of Mozambique's economy, with over 80% of the population working as farmers. Key agricultural exports include shrimp, cotton, sugar, citrus fruits, and cashew nuts. Mozambique is among Africa's leading producers of cashews. Fishing is another critical sector, contributing not just to food security but also to export revenue. Mining, a growing industry. Mining plays an increasingly significant role in Mozambique's economy, particularly in the extraction of gold and tantalum. Tantalum, a valuable metal used in electronic devices, is one of the country's major resources and a key export commodity. Rural versus urban life. Only about one-third of Mozambique's population lives in urban areas, with Maputo, Beira, and Nampula being the largest cities. Most people live in rural regions, where traditional huts made of natural materials such as clay and straw remain common. Urban centers are more developed and serve as hubs for education, healthcare, and business, although rural areas retain much of the country's cultural and agricultural heritage. Linguistic diversity. Mozambique is a linguistically rich nation with more than 80 languages spoken across the country. Swahili is prominent in the northwestern regions, while Shona dominates near the border with Zimbabwe. Tsonga is widely spoken in the southern areas. Portuguese, a legacy of colonial rule, serves as the country's official language and is taught in all schools, making it a unifying medium of communication. Coastal and natural resources. Mozambique's extensive coastline along the Mozambique Channel boasts some of Africa's finest natural harbors. These strategic locations have enabled Mozambique to play an important role in the Indian Ocean's maritime economy. The country's pristine white sandy beaches attract a growing number of tourists each year, contributing significantly to the economy. Fertile soils in the northern and central regions support abundant agricultural production, while the Zambezi River serves as a vital resource for irrigation and hydroelectric power generation, supporting both local needs and regional economies. A troubled past. Mozambique's recent history is marked by significant challenges that have prevented its people from fully benefiting from the country's natural advantages. After gaining independence in 1975, Mozambique fell into internal conflict as a Marxist government, supported by the Soviet Union, clashed with anti-communist forces funded by apartheid South Africa and the former Rhodesia. This struggle for control plunged the country into turmoil. The Civil War's lasting effects. Mozambique's civil war, which began in 1977, devastated the nation. Over 4 million people were displaced, and approximately 1 million lives were lost due to violence, hunger, and disease. The war finally ended in 1992, but its aftermath continues to affect Mozambique. Infrastructure, institutions, and communities are still recovering from the scars left by the prolonged conflict, creating significant hurdles for the country's development. Devastation in national parks. Mozambique's civil war not only displaced its people but also wreaked havoc on the environment. In some of the country's national parks, up to 90% of large mammal populations were wiped out. Efforts to rehabilitate and protect these ecosystems are ongoing, with a focus on reviving wildlife populations and restoring balance to these natural habitats. A region steeped in history. The history of Mozambique stretches back to ancient times. Evidence suggests the region has been inhabited since at least the 4th century BC, with coastal settlements emerging by the 9th century AD. During this period, the Swahili culture dominated, influencing trade, architecture, and local traditions. Arrival of Vasco da Gama. In 1498, Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama arrived in Mozambique, marking the beginning of Portuguese involvement in the region. Mozambique's strategic coastal port cities played a vital role in establishing trade networks across the Indian Ocean. However, it wasn't until 1975 that Mozambique finally gained independence from Portugal. The origin of the name Mozambique. The country's name is derived from Musa al-Bik, an Arab trader who settled on an offshore island during the 15th century. The island, once the nation's capital, remained an important center of trade and culture until the capital was moved to Maputo in 1898. The dark era of the slave trade. In the 18th century, Mozambique became a key player in the East African slave trade. Yacht traders established vast networks, moving enslaved people from the Maravi area near Lake Niassa to destinations such as Kilwa and the island of Mozambique. Lake Niassa. Shared wonders. Lake Niassa, also known as Lake Malawi, is the largest lake in Mozambique, shared with Malawi and Tanzania. Local legends speak of a mysterious sea serpent called Zimwe, said to inhabit the lake. A notable account from 1905 reported missionaries being attacked by a sea serpent attempting to board their boat. Mozambique Island. A UNESCO World Heritage Site. Mozambique Island, located in Nampula Province, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a cultural treasure. The island was home to the first settlements and features the historic São Sebastião Fortress. Once a major trading hub on the Indian Ocean trade route, it remains a symbol of Mozambique's rich history. Ponta de Ouro, a coastal paradise. Ponta de Ouro is a favorite beach destination, especially among South Africans, due to its proximity to the border. Known for its golden sands and relaxing resorts, it's also a hub for wildlife enthusiasts. Nearby Ponta Mamoli is famous for being a nesting site for loggerhead and leatherback turtles, offering visitors the chance to witness these incredible creatures in their natural habitat. The rehabilitation of Gorongosa National Park. Gorongosa National Park, located at the southern tip of the African Rift Valley, suffered immense damage during Mozambique's civil war. Most of its wildlife was poached, and only about 200 elephants survived. Thanks to extensive rehabilitation efforts, the park has seen a remarkable recovery. The elephant population is now closely monitored and protected by rangers, ensuring the herds continue to grow. A growing energy sector. Mozambique is poised for economic growth following the discovery of large natural gas and oil reserves off its northern coastline. These discoveries have spurred the development of new industries, transforming the region into an energy hub. International trade and partnerships. Mozambique maintains strong trade relationships with several nations. Its major trading partners include South Africa, India, the Netherlands, and China. These partnerships are critical to the country's export-driven economy and its efforts to foster regional and global connections. Portuguese influence. Having been under Portuguese rule for centuries, Mozambique retains strong traces of Portuguese culture, language, and religion. Portuguese is the official language and is widely spoken, especially in urban areas. Catholicism remains a significant religious influence, though many Mozambicans also adhere to native beliefs and traditions, creating a unique blend of cultural practices. HIV/AIDS crisis. Mozambique faces one of the highest HIV/AIDS infection rates in the world, with approximately 2.1 million people living with the disease. The country ranks among the top 3 globally in terms of population affected, following South Africa and India. Extensive education and healthcare initiatives aim to address this ongoing public health crisis, but significant challenges remain. Mozambique's culinary treasures. Mozambican cuisine is rich in flavor, with piri being one of its most famous elements. The term piri, which means pepper in Swahili, refers to a hot sauce or spice made from red chili peppers. It is commonly blended with lemon, garlic, and onion to create a flavorful addition to many traditional dishes. Matapa, a traditional delight. Another popular Mozambican dish is matapa, also known as mukuane. This savory dish is prepared using cassava leaves sautéed and cooked with ground nuts or cashews in a thick, flavorful sauce. It is typically served with rice, offering a comforting and delicious taste of Mozambique's culinary heritage. Rare and endangered wildlife. Mozambique is home to various rare and endangered species of animals and plants. The country is particularly known for its populations of black and white colobus monkeys and gelada baboons, which thrive in its diverse habitats. Conservation efforts are critical to ensuring the survival of these unique species. Linguistic diversity. The vast majority of Mozambicans speak languages from the Bantu branch of the Niger-Congo linguistic group. Within this group, the most commonly spoken languages are Makwa, Lomwe, Songa, Sena, Shona, and Chuabo, which reflect the country's deep cultural diversity. Nguni languages and historical migrations. Small communities in southern Mozambique speak Nguni languages, which are also shared with neighboring South Africa and Zimbabwe. These linguistic ties were established during significant population movements in the 19th century, creating cultural connections across the region. Fertile rural areas. Rural Mozambique's densest populations are concentrated in areas with fertile soils and favorable climates, such as the valleys of the Lorio and Ligana rivers, the coastal plains between them, and the lower Limpopo Valley. These regions support agricultural livelihoods, forming the backbone of rural communities. Coping with natural disasters. In small, rural settlements, locals often plant a variety of crops in different environments. This strategy is essential for minimizing risks associated with floods, droughts, pests, and other natural disasters. Such adaptive farming practices highlight the resilience and resourcefulness of Mozambique's rural population. The birth of the Mozambique Liberation Front. In 1962, representatives from various exiled Mozambican political groups convened in Tanganyika, now known as Tanzania. There, they formed the Mozambique Liberation Front, Frelimo, which became a key force in the struggle for independence from Portuguese rule. Eduardo Mondlane and the path to independence. Eduardo Mondlane became the first president of the Mozambique Liberation Front, Frelimo. Under his leadership, Frelimo initiated the fight for independence from Portuguese colonial rule. Mozambique gained its independence in 1975, following the Lusaka Agreement with Portugal. Demographics and mortality. Mozambique faces significant challenges in public health. The country's infant mortality rate is among the highest globally, while life expectancy is one of the lowest. However, these figures are comparable to averages across sub-Saharan Africa. Approximately 40% of the population is under 15 years old, and nearly 75% is under 30, highlighting a youthful demographic. Labor migration during the colonial era. Under colonial rule, many Mozambicans sought work in neighboring countries as both contract and independent laborers. South Africa's mining industry and Rhodesia's farms and urban centers were major destinations for Mozambican workers. Forestry challenges. Forests along the Beira Railway and in the Zambezia province have historically been heavily exploited to meet Mozambique's domestic fuel demands for firewood and charcoal. Reforestation efforts have struggled to match the pace of deforestation. The ecological impact of eucalyptus plantations has also raised long-term environmental concerns. Currency and economic development. Mozambique's currency, the metical, plural, metica, is central to its economy. Since the 1990s, the country has privatized its banking sector and taken on substantial debt to support development and address foreign currency shortages. Aviation history. In the early days, Mozambique relied on private planes for air transport. After World War II, Portugal's national airline introduced a route between Beira and Maputo. The colonial government later established a Mozambican airline, which was eventually replaced in 1980 by Mozambique Airlines, LAM. Political reforms of 1990. A new constitution adopted in November 1990 marked a shift toward democracy and political reform. Key changes included the introduction of multi-party elections, universal suffrage, and secret voting. The death penalty was abolished, press freedom confirmed, and workers' rights, including the right to strike, were upheld. Shifting traditions in society. Family and community have traditionally been at the heart of Mozambican society. Early post-independence governments opposed practices such as polygamy, initiation rites, and the authority of regulos, traditional chiefs who held power under colonial administration. Return of tradition. By the late 1990s, government campaigns against polygamy and initiation rites had ceased. Recognizing the enduring nature of these customs, the authorities integrated regulos and other local leaders into Mozambique's governance framework. Daily cuisine. Cassava is a staple food for most Mozambicans. It is typically cooked, mashed, and served with sauces. Rice is another dietary mainstay, often paired with beans. Indian influence is evident in dishes such as pilaf rice, where rice is cooked with vegetables or meat, and the use of curry as a seasoning. Mozambican literature. Mozambique has made notable contributions to African literature and art. Since the early 20th century, Mozambican writers and intellectuals published their own newspaper in Maputo, initially called O Africano and later O Brado Africano. Despite colonial censorship, this publication provided a platform for African voices for decades. The sounds of Mozambique. Mozambican popular music blends African and Western influences. A prominent musical style is marabenta, which originated in the 1950s. The genre combines rhythmic melodies with heartfelt lyrics, reflecting the nation's cultural identity and social realities. The unique sound of marabenta. One of Mozambique's most iconic musical styles, marabenta, emerged during the colonial era. This genre became a form of political expression, with lyrics that subtly critiqued the government in a non-threatening way. A distinguishing feature of this music is its homemade guitars, often crafted from oil or gasoline cans. Marabenta isn't just about the music, it's also associated with a lively dance style that remains popular across Mozambique today. Cyclone Idai's devastation. In March 2019, Cyclone Idai struck Mozambique, leaving a trail of destruction and tragedy in its wake. The storm claimed the lives of approximately 600 people and severely impacted infrastructure. The city of Beira was the hardest hit, with most of it reduced to ruins. The cyclone is considered one of the worst natural disasters to ever affect the country. Administrative divisions of Mozambique. Mozambique is organized into 10 provinces, each with its own unique features and culture. In addition, the capital city, Maputo, holds provincial status. The provinces are further subdivided into 129 districts, which are broken down into administrative posts and localities. This hierarchical structure allows governance at various levels across the country. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss future updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.